So how do you communicate about your other lovers with your primary partner whom you're in an open relationship? There are, of course, a lot of misconceptions about this, so we're going to clarify that in this video. And you're going to learn by listening in how to be in an open relationship. One of the prerequisites of having amazing, fun, successful, persistent, open relationship is in the name itself. The open aspect of open relationship is open communication. There are no other platforms of relationship where you can have open communication. You can test this out for yourself. Any other platform that is in a closed relationship doesn't have the open communication aspect, which is why the open aspect of open relationship is open communication. There are other people who enter into so-called open relationships without the open communication aspect. And so it's not quite an open relationship. I'll show you what I mean. There are people that enter into so-called open relationships where they enter into the idea, don't ask, don't tell. It's essentially a secretive, closed communication relationship. And it could be for many different reasons. It could be for they're adapting their relationship based on the circumstances that they have. But it's not quite an open relationship. It's a secretive relationship. They know they're seeing other people, they're not going to talk about it. So that's not quite an open relationship. Now, that works for some people, just like any other format of closed relationship works for many people. And the reason it works is because we humans have this fantastic ability to adapt. But if you want a relationship which is persistent, ongoing, based on love, based on happiness, based on facilitating each individual's pursuing their actualization, love, happiness, and joy, and delight in living life, and living life by their own means, and sharing it with other people whom they love, admire, and adore, then you would want to consider an open relationship and facilitate it in a way that works. So here's how it works. So let's go back to the topic at hand. How do you handle communicating about other people in an open relationship? So like I said, open communication is a primary aspect, a fundamental requisite. It's required in an open relationship if you want it to be successful, happy, and persistent. So I communicate absolutely transparently with my partners. I communicate absolutely anything with my partners, except for those things that I cannot communicate with other people because I don't have the consent about it, such as my client-therapist relationships. Those I can't share any information about them because it's in the name itself, a client-therapist confidentiality clause. I also don't communicate other people's secrets because I don't have the consent to share them with other people. I don't even share them with my primary partner. Why is that? It's because who am I? What kind of person would trust me if I were to say they can trust me with their secrets, but really I communicate it with people who are really, really close to me. So people who are really, really close to me, who really appreciate me for the person that I am, understands this about me and understand that they can't communicate about a lot of things about other people because they're not my secrets to divulge. So when I say that I don't have any secrets of my own, I communicate absolutely anything about myself, it doesn't mean that I don't have any secrets of other people that I cannot share because I don't have the consent. Your relationship must be based on consent. My relationships are based on consent, that the people do anything with me because they want to and like to, and that I do anything because I want to and like to and have their permission, and they have my permission. It's a permission-based relationship. And so with that in mind, you communicate, when you communicate about your other lovers with your partner, that communication is shared, that information is shared based on whether they asked for that information, and it's up to you whether you decide, whether you consent to wanting to share that information. Information is never granted. Remember that feeling and being taken for granted, inevitably resulting in feeling taken for granted, is the death knell of every loving relationship. One of the aspects of being and feeling taken for granted is communication, is the biggest one. Communication is never granted to the other person. So they only get that information either one of two ways. Either they ask for the information, or one person happily, voluntarily, of their own volition, shares that information with them because they want to. It's never granted. And everyone in the relationship must appreciate that communication is never granted. That never will the communication be forced to be shared. And simultaneously, all communication is consent-based, and that you may never share information about other people who it's their secret and their prerogative and their consent to whether or not you can share it, and you can be trusted that they're sharing it with you. So let's put this into a close. How do you handle sharing, talking about your other lovers? You share them because you can share them, number one. It's not their secret that you're sharing with other people. It's something that's you can share. It's something perhaps you could ask them, hey, is it okay if I share this with my very, very dear friends or my very dear lovers? Or is it okay if I tell them about you? Or is it okay if I tell this particular thing about you? Because I think it's fucking awesome about you, and I really want to share this with my other friends. And I think they would really like you, and I would love for you to meet them. Or if they ask you about them, then they appreciate that, hey, there's certain things you might not be able to talk about, and there's certain things you could. Or you are never forced to talk about other people if you don't want to, if you're not compelled to. Communication is never granted, but it's compelled. We'll talk about that in other videos. Like this if you share this, heart the video. Comment below your thoughts. I would love to hear them. And share this with other people so you can make the world a better place for all of us. I'll talk to you in this video. Bye-bye.